Good morning. My name is Elaine McLouglin and I'm here today to share my research with you. I created a video to stimulate the use of Twitter within my Irish secondary school with the purpose of celebrating achievements in a real-time way. What is Twitter? Twitter is a social media network. It relies on 140 characters. It was launched in 2006 and it asks you to answer the question, what's happening? My rationale for taking on this project was we had Twitter in school. I had launched it in October of 2014, but it hadn't really taken off in the way that I wanted. So to encourage people to use it, I needed to create a buzz around Twitter. And that's why I decided to use video as my medium for relaunching Twitter in school. I'm a secondary school teacher in a North Dublin DESH school, St. Vincent. Sarah talked to you about DESH, delivering equality of opportunity in schools, which means that a lot of our students come from challenging socio and economic backgrounds. Twitter is important in that context because I want to celebrate what's already happening in our schools. Every day we have achievements, but we don't celebrate them in a real-time way that appeals to teenagers. So Twitter allows us to do that. Through the literature review, I really found that a lot of the studies are arguing that it's the micro element of Twitter that makes it so successful. And this is encouraging students to think and write purposefully using the 140 characters, which is really a skill that they can use throughout all their academic life. There's also a lot of studies around Twitter and how it can actually promote engagement at third level. Through using Twitter, students are more engaged in their classes, and I don't see why this has to be any different for second level as we're trying to prepare them for third level. But Twitter is not without its challenges. It's not designed to be used in an educational format, so you do have to prepare for that. And a lot of the literature argues that all you have to do is educate your students on how to use it correctly, have a good social media policy, and therefore you're preparing for any potential threats. But definitely the benefits outweigh the threats. As a junior member of staff, it's not easy to create a change, so I utilised Rosenberg's 10 critical success factors to help me with this change. Rosenberg is a change theorist, so he supports looking to the top for support with your change, and that's exactly what I did. I went to management, I pitched my idea, and really they were so supportive from the very, very beginning. And management have become the champions of Twitter in school. They promote it among my colleagues, and they actually will, you'll see some evidence of that on my video. Why video was really to do with everyone has an idea of what Twitter is, but I wanted in a very short period of time to be able to give you a mood primer and an introduction to all you can do with Twitter. So in 6 minutes, you should be able to see how to set up a Twitter account, how to use it in an educational context, and how successful it really can be. I also, like Connor, relied on Kumi's pedagogy screenwriting principles to learn how I could engage the audience. So you can tell me afterwards if you felt engaged in my video. I use a hook at the start that will hopefully capture your attention. The same as you've heard today from a lot of us is that I chose to take an action research approach. And really why I took an action research approach is because I had found that we had a problem with our usage of Twitter. So I was the best placed insider to create a solution to this problem. And the approach I decided was the educational entrepreneurial approach. And I followed very closely, as the others did, the 4 steps: explore, understand, create, and transform, to scaffold me through this process. The reason why this approach was so appealing to me was because it allowed me to create the artifact. And after 2 years on this master's program, I wanted to be able to showcase some of the skills that I had developed. So in the explore stage, I looked at my values, and I really felt that inclusion was the biggest value that appealed to me. And really, working in a school, I wanted something that I could incorporate all of our school community, and Twitter was going to allow me to do that. This became my guiding principle on the journey. And as Sean talked to us a bit about this morning, culture was so important. So I had to look at my workplace culture and see what was needed to make a change. So to do this in the understand stage, I used online journaling, where I tracked my journey. I looked at what change had come before me, what worked, what didn't work, and how I could make a successful and lasting change in the long term. This allowed me to map the change ahead. Through the create stage, you have to adopt an educational entrepreneurial mindset, which is as difficult at times as it sounds. You've got to take risks, and the only thing that makes those risks easy is the peers that you work with on the process. So really, cooperative learning was your cushion throughout this process. I worked with students and staff in my school. They volunteered to take part in my video, which was just unbelievable, because when they step in front of that camera, they perform for you and they really want to show you the best side of themselves and of your school. And that really is how you get to a successful video at the end. I also relied heavily on the peers on this program to look at my work, to validate my work, to give me suggestions and critical feedback that has allowed me to arrive at this final iteration of my video. Through the transform stage, I showed my video to all my colleagues, and out of my 30 colleagues, 26 people saw the video and completed a survey for me at the end. And that really emphasized to me the impact of the video on my staff. They could all agree that they could see the benefit of Twitter for an educational purpose, and they were interested in using Twitter. So you can see now, if you have that same feedback or same feeling at the end of the video, if you're going to take out your phone and tweet. I have a huge sense of well-being now that I've completed this process, and I have certainly grown as a person. Like many others, I never would have considered myself a creative person, but at the end of this process, I could say that yes, I am creative. I've enhanced the skills that I've picked up along the way, and there really has been a positive reaction to my video. From having the students take part in the video, Twitter actually grew among them before the video was ever finished and ready to be viewed. And the current Twitter usage in the past year has doubled within our school.